Okay, let's get to our Facebook ads budget calculator. And in this video, we're going to answer the question, how much should you spend on advertising your product or service? We're going to give you a data-driven framework to make that determination. And this video is all about my second epiphany when it comes to advertising, and that is you need to know your numbers and set a budget before you spend any money. Otherwise, you're going to be spending money on the wrong things, and you're probably not going to be happy with the results because you're not even sure what results that you're expecting. And so before you advertise, you need to know your numbers, including stuff that's tough to get as a marketer, like sales close rates and your product margins. Because if you don't know these numbers, what's going to happen is you're going to be thinking that you're doing a good job advertising because you're following the numbers given to you on the ad platform, and you might not be doing the right thing for your business or the business that you're managing ads for, and that can be a problem. Think about it this way. Facebook, their number one objective is to make more money for Facebook's shareholders. Your objective is to make more money for your business. So Facebook is going to give you every indicator you can that you're doing a great job, that you're really crushing it, killing it with ads, saying everything's good, hunky-dory, but then you might not be doing the right thing for your business because you're not spending money effectively, or you're not even sure of what your business's objectives are. And so that's why I have this lesson so early in this boot camp, because I want to make sure that you know that this is really important. Not just that it's important. I don't want to give you lip service and say this is important, because that's not really that fun. And somebody saying this is important is total BS. I want to show you really how much the numbers you put in there and how much you understand the business itself will affect the profitability and the effectiveness of your advertising. And I'm going to do that by showing you my Facebook ads budget calculator. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you how my Facebook ads budget calculator helps you understand your all-in numbers and can tell you the fine line, the small little subtle differences between profit and losing money in your advertising. But before we get into the calculator, I just want to help you get into the mindset as to what numbers you should be putting into this calculator. When I look at advertising, I look at it as a sporting field, and basically we want to take somebody from unaware of who you are all the way to fully aware so they're ready to make a purchase. And as you can probably imagine, it can take a while for somebody from unaware state to become somebody who's fully aware of what you do, and it's not going to happen usually in one advertisement. And so if you try to advertise and say, okay, I only want to go after people who are unaware of us, and I want to make them fully aware in one ad or through a series of ads, that's going to be very expensive, and your likelihood of success is not very high because you are not factoring in their timeline of making a decision. And unless you have some kind of urgency or some kind of really crazy deal that they have to act now, they're probably going to be skeptical as to what this offer is and whether it's there. And so you're probably going to spend a lot of money going after people, trying to get the full touchdown, the Hail Mary pass like we talked about earlier, and it's probably not going to be very effective. But if you look at it in smaller pieces, you can get really inexpensive leads. And I mean just a lead, somebody who's possibly interested in what you're doing, taking them from unaware to problem aware, maybe even solution aware, using inexpensive marketing tactics, inexpensive advertising. So some of the cheapest ads that you can run is just getting that initial interest because it's so early in the decision-making process that it's cheap because you're not paying a premium because you're not really closing anybody. You're just starting the relationship. And as you can probably imagine, most relationships don't make it all the way to the goal line. They don't make it all the way to the end. And so you need to have some kind of initial contact here, and that's why these are relatively inexpensive. Now, on the other hand, taking somebody who's solution aware or product aware and trying to score every single time, that gets to be more expensive because everybody realizes that that's the lowest hanging fruit that we can pick in our business. Those are the opportunities that are going to be the highest chance of scoring, and so people are going to pay a premium for that. And that's what happens in an auction-based system. When you're competing against other people, you can't just completely ignore it. Other people are going to be bidding on these things too, and they know that if somebody's in that state, if they're in that state of mind, if they're fully product aware, or even solution aware, they're more likely to convert, and that's how you go after those people, and that's why it gets to be more expensive. But the thing you need to understand as an advertiser is that it might be more expensive, but that's only in terms of expensive compared to somebody who's unaware and converting them to a next earlier state in the process. This actually can be very profitable for your business, and it's something that I would highly recommend that you do. Going after these opportunities that even if they cost more per click or per opportunity that you get, they're going to be more profitable because it represents revenue captured for your business. There ain't no revenue in taking somebody from unaware to problem aware. There is revenue in getting somebody all the way to the end zone and scoring that touchdown for your business. So let me show you the Facebook ads budget calculator and how you can put these numbers to work for yourself. Okay, so here we are in the budget calculator. And as you can see here, here's how much money we're spending per month on Facebook ads. I put $2,250. We're going to expect 50 cents per click. These numbers obviously are going to vary based on your own results and your own markets and what you're looking after, but this is pretty reasonable based on campaigns I've run. We're going to say our lead conversion rate is 20%. Now, going back to our illustration here, it's important to recognize that when I say lead conversion, I'm talking about going from unaware to problem aware. I can get 20% of the people who are unaware of what we're doing to become problem aware, utilizing some of the tactics like lead magnets and general purpose content to capture somebody's email address. And so when I say lead, I'm talking about capturing somebody's email address, and this can be effective. It can be 20% in many cases if you have the right offer, the right creative, the right everything in place. You can really do well if your landing page supports that action. And so we have our lead conversion rate. I'm putting it at 20%, and we can change these. Obviously, that's how these calculators work. And if we change this to 10%, you can see the viability of the campaign completely changes. So this campaign, the profitability is relying on a lead conversion rate of, say, 20%. Now, in this case, we're talking about $2.50 cost per inquiries. These are people's email addresses getting onto our system. But not everybody who does that is going to become a customer. As you can see here, we have 900 inquiries, and if we keep on going down, that's going to result in 25 sales because there's always different points where they're going to drop off in the sales process. So in this case, the qualified leads, so 900 people entered their email address, only 55% of those I'm saying are actually qualified. They're people who might even their email address didn't bounce. They're somebody who is ready to talk to us or listen to our email marketing campaigns. Whatever it is, there's a very low percentage of these people who are qualified. So that's 495. So we're already about halfway there from the leads we generated. Now we're at about $5 per qualified lead, give or take. We go down some more. We have email sequence completion rate. Of the email sequences that these people will be put in, now let's talk about it in the terms of this boot camp. If somebody were to put in their email address and say, I want to join the boot camp, for example, we're hoping that would cost us $2.50, as you can see here. And then half the people are going to be giving us junk email addresses, not going through it. Now we're down to 500 leads, $5 a lead. 50% of them actually complete the sequence. That's 25% of the overall audience that does that. We're talking about 250 completions of the email sequence. And if 10% take the sale, then that's 25 sales. Now, it depends on what the upsell is, what the next step is, but depending on what it is, you can see if 10% take that, it really depends on how much you charge for it and what your margins are, how much the product costs, whether this is profitable or not. So if we charge $200 for the upsell, this is not profitable for the business. We don't actually have a positive return on the investment. But if you were to do a $1,000 product, obviously this becomes much more of a return on investment. So these lead numbers, spending $2.50, really $2.50 might be a good number for you or might not be a good number for you, but it really depends on what your product cost is and what your margin structure is. If it costs you nothing to deliver the product, if it costs you 10%, then this is super profitable no matter what we do. That's basically printing money. This is what a lot of the gurus promise you, is that if you run something on Facebook ads, you're going to get all this money, or they tell you their results. Well, they're probably lying to you in some way, shape, or form, to be completely honest. And if they're not lying to you, they're selling a dream based on something that really is a high margin product or something that is probably not repeatable for most advertisers. So they're selling the dream when the reality is not quite there. And so yes, if you can get to the point where you have a 10% product cost and you make $1,000 for the product and you're getting leads for $2.50, I guarantee you that you'll make money. And that's just how it goes, right? Even on $2,200, this is so profitable that it's like unbelievable how profitable that is. I would print money from this business anytime I could, right? This is amazing. This is really amazing to see that. $19,000 in profit off of $2,250. That is the best campaign ever. That is unlikely. That is improbable for most advertisers because obviously you need to have everything working in concert for that to happen. You need to have a command of a product that would be worth $1,000. You need to have not spent that much money to create that product or to deliver it, right? That's 10%. You need to have a really high upsell rate, which is probably improbable for you, right? You need to have a high qualified lead percentage. These numbers need to all work in concert in order for this thing to print money. The reality is more like this. Maybe you're selling a product for, say, $200 and your rates are okay, and then your product cost is still pretty low, and maybe it's still back at the 50%. Okay, so you start out unprofitable. You start advertising and it's unprofitable, and you're like, okay, well, maybe this is not the best idea. Maybe I shouldn't advertise. Or maybe I need something else to happen. Well, the reason why this calculator is so powerful for you is because you can see what levers you need to pull in order for this to work effectively. And so in my case, this is actually what happened when I advertised one of my courses and the price was, let's just say $200. $200, I couldn't make it profitable, and so I had to raise the price on it in order to account for the advertising. Basically, I needed to either improve these numbers of percentages of completion rates or see if the price increase would make it profitable. And so say that you raise it to $250, this becomes profitable. But of course, when you change that, something's going to go down. Maybe it's only 9% take the offer all of a sudden. Okay, it's still profitable, but we had a lower uptake rate. And that's usually what ends up happening is fewer people take the offer when you charge more, but hopefully that extra money ends up being the margin that you create or the opportunity to become profitable. And this doesn't even count other things down the stream. This is just for one purchase, one sale. So we're profitable on the first sale, and then we have the whole customer lifetime value, the other opportunities to have somebody purchase more products down the line. And so this can be effective even though it's barely profitable because of the lifetime value of the customer. And this is something that you need to incorporate and consider when you're talking about your business. A lot of companies will lose money on the first sale, the first opportunity they have somebody coming in to their brand, because they know they'll make it up in the long run. That's really what the big advertisers do. They're prepared to spend lots of money. They're prepared to budget a lot of money in order to just get people into the door thinking they'll make it back. I've worked in industries like insurance where they're willing to pay 3 years of acquisition costs. They're willing to lose money on a customer for 3 years because they know the average person sticks with them for 7 years. And so they're making profit hand over fist towards the end. And so there are a lot of companies out there willing to sacrifice short-term profits for long-term gains, and you are competing against them. So you need to understand that. And maybe something that's not profitable for you is the best move that company ever made. Or maybe they don't have the same level of accountability you do. This calculator helps you understand what is the minimum that I need. What are the minimum rates, percentages of success? What type of campaign should I run? Should I be going for the end zone? Should I be going for everything or just a few things? And how does it work? And how does it fit into our overall strategy? And not only the strategy, but how does it fit into your budget as well? And so I'd encourage you to play around with this calculator, see how much money you think you can spend, and see what effect that has on your advertising overall. As you can see here, if we put in more money using these same numbers, it becomes more profitable. If we put up the price, let's call it the $500, it's more profitable. If we lower our costs, that's a big one, right? If we lower our costs to 20%, which sounds insane. Obviously, this is a spreadsheet, easier said than done. But if we have a really low product cost, that goes up significantly. And now we're talking about lots of profit coming from our business. And so as you can see here, the numbers do have an effect on each other. Everything works sort of like a waterfall. So everything you do on top will affect your bottom numbers. That's why they call it the bottom line. You just keep on going down until you get to your bottom line. And everything is an opportunity or a chance that somebody's not going to be interested. And so when I talk about the strategy here of taking somebody who's unaware of you and turning them into the most aware through advertising, the reason why it gets expensive is because you're dipping back and forth to advertising each time. You might go back to your calculator and say unaware conversions are $2.50, but then if we're having to advertise again from the same budget to get somebody to become qualified, to get them to become product aware or fully aware of you, and you're doing that all through advertising, that $2.50 quickly rises. It comes to $10 per lead, it comes to $20, $30. It becomes really expensive because you're paying over and over again to the advertising systems for that same person. Basically, to push them through to the goal line, you keep on paying and paying and paying, and you pay a premium the further you get down the process. And that's why it becomes very expensive to rely solely on advertising. This is the reason why here, this only becomes profitable because we're talking about using email marketing to nurture the lead as opposed to pure advertising. Doesn't mean that we won't use advertising to support it. We will use advertising like remarketing and more specific types of advertising that are pretty cost effective. I call them low-hanging fruit. They're not going after everybody. They're just going after those same people. So we will stay in front of them, but we are not going to throw Hail Mary passes. We're going to do it in a much more strategic and structured way. And we'll talk more about how to do this as we go through the boot camp. Okay, so that's an overview of our budget calculator. Hopefully you can put your numbers in there, play around, and you can see the business case for advertising, see what your break-even point is, and then see how you can take it to next levels. I don't want you to go after the Hail Marys, but I do want you to have this be a vital part of customer acquisition for your business. And I hope you understand where this all fits into the customer awareness cycle as well. And to summarize what we learned in this video, save yourself time and stress by setting your goals in advance. Know what you're doing before you spend any money on advertising. Know your numbers, all of them, before you advertise. Advertising is not magically guaranteed to be profitable for every business. And in fact, it might be improbable for a lot of businesses if you don't have your stuff together, if you don't know the percentage of leads that turn into sales, and you can't improve upon that, then you might not ever be profitable from advertising. So just because you're putting money into ads, just because you're spending money, does not mean that you'll always make money. And in fact, I would be very cautious of this and make sure you're doing it the right way and taking the right approach as you go forward. But there's also great news. A few adjustments are going to go a long way when it comes to profitability. All you need to do is know where your breaking points are, where the leaks are in your process, how you can get people to become more aware of what you're doing and to get them ready to purchase. If you can figure out how to do that, then you will be profitable pretty quickly here. Basically, you just need to know where you're having problems and fix them or have a solution to fix them, and your advertising can go from okay to super profitable in no time. And while you're at it, this calculator helps you understand the hidden costs that go into advertising, the drop-off points, the missed opportunities, and how big those impacts are on everything you do. So when we look at the calculator, we have stuff like agency fees or management fees. That is going to affect your profitability. So you need to make sure you understand that, because that's the difference between not profitable and profitable. Same with your percentages. Every one of these things is a missed expectation, a missed effort. If you think you're going to have a 55% qualified lead rate and it's 20%, you're not going to meet your expectations. You're not going to be profitable for advertising, and you're going to have a lot of questions to answer. So be sure about your numbers, and maybe you can start with placeholders, but sooner or later you do need to have these numbers be predictable, because that predictability is the source of predictable profits. And that's really what you want from advertising. That's the whole point of doing this, is predictable profits. So hopefully you enjoyed this view into my budget calculator, my budgeting process. Take this thing, download it, make it your own, put in your own numbers, and be sure to ask questions, because I know you're going to have some, but use this as your method, as your guide, as you figure out your budget for advertising.